Well, hi there. Welcome to the $1 Million Formula, the $1 Million Money Formula. How I use try-building strategies to make my first million online. Okay, now this forms part of our challenge series. Okay, so this is a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. So this is a challenge. I know you're going to like it. You need to commit. You need to stay with us for the duration. Okay? Every day you're going to have a new lesson, and then you're going to do a little bit of homework, and then you're going to report your results, report your homework, etc. to the group. Okay? There's no point starting this and then quitting after a day. Too many failing marketers do that type of thing all the time. They start with something, and then they get distracted, and they think, oh, this is a little bit like hard work, so I better stop. I'll go and find something else. It's more fun. But challenges can be fun. Anyway, they can be fun, and they often are. But there is an element of work and discipline required. So you're going to need maybe an hour a day, maybe an hour a day. Elevate this. Make it a priority. Make it a priority, because some of the things that you're going to learn could act as a catalyst for change for you. Positive change, so you start getting the results that you want. Okay? So let's get started. Let's get started. $1 Million Money Formula. How I use try-building strategies to make my first $1 million online. Yeah. And I crossed that threshold several years ago, but I'm still using try-building strategies today. I just do it a little bit differently today. I find people in a different way. Back then, when I first got started in 2006, I was using advertising. I was paying for ads, and then I used a warming method to convert some of the people that came from the ads into advocates, fans, members of my fledgling tribe. Okay? So we go through different stages. Now we're in the social media era, aren't we? So we can tap into that. We can find people that way. It's all about finding people. But finding people isn't enough. We have to turn some of those people into our warm audience, or what I call our tribe. Okay? So that's enough of the preamble. Let's get started. That's me. I don't quite look like that now, but that is me. I think it is. Yeah. So, day one. Clear the decks. We have to establish some sort of a foundation. That makes sense, doesn't it? We've got to have a foundation. A building is only as good as the foundation. You can put up the walls, you can add the roof and all of that, but if the foundation is weak, that building's probably going to come down pretty soon, isn't it? So we have to have a foundation. And that's why I call this lesson Clear the Decks. Let's have a look. What are we doing? Well, I think what we need to do is to invoke the prosperity law of vacuum and remove the clutter, the confusion, the distractions, all the nonsense from our lives. Because what I've found is that most marketers who are not making money or not making much money, part of the reason is that they have too much clutter, far too much clutter. Now, some of them will deny it, and you might be denying. You might be saying, no, I don't have any clutter, I'm very focused and all the rest of it. I bet if I did an audit with you, I'd find some clutter. So create a space for the good you desire. That's what we need to do. Now, if you've already been through this exercise recently, fine. Good to refresh. You may be able to fine-tune it a bit. But chances are, you haven't done it for a while. You haven't created the space for a while. And you might be all over the place. Sometimes I say, he's all over the place like a drunken sailor. All over the boat, all over the ship, like a drunken sailor. Lack of focus is a killer. It's a wealth killer. So let's look at some of these points here. understand the prosperity law of vacuum. You create a space for the good you desire. You create a space and then fill it with higher quality stuff than was there previously. That's what you do. You create the space, so that's an intention, and then you have the second intention, which is to fill it with good stuff. Okay? You fill it with the positive. You fill it with higher level things. Prosperity law of vacuum. Create a space for the good you desire. That's what you have to do. You start with intentions. See, what happens sometimes is that people have a space and they don't really have intent. Okay? So it just, life does what life does, and things come into our lives and it distracts us, and we're over here one day, we're looking over this other way. Oh, look at that bright shiny object, all of that kind of thing, right? There's no intention there. You're just sort of tumbling along like the tumbling tumbleweed, as someone said. There's no purpose. There's no coherence. There's no plan. There's no intention. Create a space for the good you desire. Identify the time wasters and energy drainers in your life. Yes. Most people have them. Even after I do a culling, I probably hang on to a few little things that I just kind of love. I've got an emotional attachment to those little habits or activities or something like that. Right? So, this is honesty time. You've got to fess up and say, yeah, I do have some energy drainers in my life. I do have some time wasters. I do have some distractions. I'm doing some things that are not helping me get towards my goal. We've got to fess up. That's the first thing we've got to do. We've got to admit that there is an issue here. There is a problem. It's like people who start these challenges. Oh, it's a good idea. I'll start a challenge. Because I'm running a challenge program, different topics, running them all the time. Every month, at least every month, there's a new challenge coming along that people participate in. But here's what I found. If 30 people join a challenge, by the second or third day, there'll only be 10 participating. What happened to the other 20? They didn't officially quit. They're still there. You can see their name there. But they're not active. What happened to them? See? Lack of intention. Some people say, I'm sorry I couldn't finish the challenge because, I had this thing to do, I had another thing to do, I had something else. Maybe these things were important things to do, but didn't you know that in advance? Why would you commit to something, or seemingly commit to something, and then just, fizzle out? Why would you do that? Lack of commitment is an issue for a lot of people. Okay, remove the clutter from your life. So once you've identified the time wasters and the energy drainers in your life, then you've got to cut them out. You've got to fess up, acknowledge them, cut them out. Remove them. Name them, shame them, remove them. And replace it with good stuff, as I said. Create a space for the good you desire. Let's have a look at some of these distractions now. This is not the ultimate list, it's not the definitive list, it's not the complete list, but it is a list. And you may think of some other distractions that I haven't mentioned here. But it will get you thinking. Emails, always checking emails. Why do you need to always check the emails? And look, I've been guilty of this, I've got to admit. I've been guilty of this. I don't know why I do it. Always checking the emails. What difference does it make if I don't check in for 4 or 5 hours? Or I only do it once a day at the end of the day, or twice a day, one at the beginning of the day, one at the end of the day. Why do I need to do it every time I hear the ping noise? Oh, got another email. Why do I need to do it? What? Is there anything urgent with those emails? If there's something urgent, someone would phone you, wouldn't they? They're not going to just send you an email. And if they did send you an email, it couldn't have been very urgent because emails are like that. They're not urgent. So that could be one. Computer games. I plead innocent on that one. I do not play computer games, but some people do. And I'm not denigrating it. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying how to look at it. If it's getting out of hand, maybe you've got to do something about it, because it may be robbing you of the opportunity to make your dreams come true. It's another little potential addiction, isn't it? Addictions. Just like checking the emails. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Now look, I spend a lot of time on social media now, on social media platforms, particularly Facebook. But I'm doing it for work. I have a definite intention, a very clear intention. I'm not just messing about on Facebook or Twitter or any of these things. Watching YouTube videos. Now, I like watching some YouTube videos. I like watching music videos. Sometimes I like watching those stupid animal videos, cat and dog, just sort of whiling the time away. But okay, on the weekend maybe, but during the week when I'm in work mode, not a chance, not a chance. Promoting too many programs, boy, that's clutter. That is clutter. That's clutter. Promoting too many programs. I have people talking to me on Facebook, and I say, oh, what sort of business are you doing? Oh, they say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm promoting some other thing, I'm promoting this thing over here, and I got that thing up my sleeve as well. Oh yeah, how much money are you making from any of them? Oh, well, not much. Okay. Maybe the fact that you're so diffused in your focus, maybe that's the reason. Could be. All right. Following too many gurus. This is another one. Now, I don't see myself as a guru, right? Some people may. That's up to them. I certainly don't see it. I don't like it. But I do see myself as a leader, and I'm happy to say that. I'm proud of that. I do see myself as someone who has produced results online. More than 99% of marketers. I'm happy to say that, but I don't see myself as a guru. But whatever you call me, you've got to decide as to who you're going to follow. And in terms of mentoring, I only have had one mentor at a time. I cannot divide my loyalties between two mentors, for instance. And I've had tremendous results from my mentoring experiences. But if I appointed a mentor, if I hired a mentor, I would work with them for 3 to 6 months, and no distractions, even when the going got tough, even when things weren't quite working the way I wanted them to work. I made the commitment, I'm going to be with this person, I believe in this person, and my belief is absolute. I'm not going to deviate. I'm not going to be distracted by all of those people out there. So if you've got somebody, if you've got a leader, somebody that can teach you this stuff, tribe building, stay with them. You don't need me. You don't need me, because I don't want to take on somebody that's not, focused in my direction, because I can't help them get the result that they need if they're going to be distracted, get themselves unmotivated quickly, etc. So go with somebody else. I don't know of many people who are doing the stuff that we're doing, because it is kind of unique in a way. But if you've got somebody, stay with them. Doesn't worry me. Building funnels. This is a good one. This is this one I've heard many people over the last couple of years particularly tell me that they're spending a lot of time building funnels, and they really enjoy it. Some of them do, others hate it. But building funnels, capture pages, thank you pages, even sales pages, email systems on the back end, all of this, right? I say, how long have you been building these funnels for? Oh, I've been going for a couple of months. What? I can put a funnel together in 2 hours. So, you're not making money when you're building funnels. Right? I'd rather outsource it now. I'd rather outsource it. Okay? And the other point is that if you're using organic, free social media type strategies, let's say you're an affiliate marketer, you don't need to be building funnels. You don't need that. It's a non-productive activity. It's nonsense. You don't even need a website. All you need is people. That's what you need. You need people. The funnels are not going to make you the money. Having a surefire way of connecting with people and turning them into warm audience, that's where the money is. It's not with funnels. If you're an affiliate for something, well, you've got a link for a sales page. You connect with me, build your warm audience on a platform such as Facebook. Why do you need a funnel? You just give them their link. When it gets to the point where they're interested in looking at your thing, give them a link. Give them the company link. You don't need a funnel. In effect, in reality, of course, what I just described to you is a funnel. But it's a very simple funnel. It's a low-tech funnel. You build an audience and you give them a link. That's a funnel. Very simple, isn't it? Don't need to set up capture pages or anything like that. People say, oh, what about email? Don't I need to be gathering, email addresses and building my list? Yeah, in the medium term you do. But in the short term, you don't. You don't need to do it. Because it's slower. I'm about speed, right? I'm about speed. And anything that slows me down when I'm on a particular project, well, I'm gonna start to get a little bit antsy about it, right? Too many people have been sold a bunch of stuff, strategies and programs and things like that, and all that happens is that it complicates it, it slows them down, and before you know it, they're thinking of quitting because 2 or 3 or 4 months has elapsed and they still haven't got an audience. Facebook ads is the next one. Does this mean that Facebook ads is a bad thing? No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying for novices, for newbies, for people who haven't made any money. Some people are not newbies, but they still haven't made money. They've been trying to make this online thing work for some of them 2 and 3 years. And they still don't have a warm audience. What have they been doing for 2 or 3 years? Or 2 or 3 months, or whatever it happens to be. If you haven't made money, I don't think you should be doing Facebook ads. There, I've said it. Unless you come from a highly entrepreneurial background, you've got experience in the digital space in other areas, okay, maybe it could be a goer for you. It could work. But for most people, Facebook ads is too complicated, it's too fiddly, it's messy, and it can be expensive. Okay? And, you're paying this money every week for the Facebook ads. Some people say, oh, it's only $10 a day. Well, $10 a day, what's that? That's $70 a week over, that's $200 and something, isn't it? $200 to $300 a month. It could spiral a bit, could be $400, could be $500. Before you know it, you're spending $1,000. And you may still not have made any money, or very little. Or if you've made a little bit of money, it doesn't offset the cost of the ad. So in point of fact, you're losing money. By the time you get a Facebook ad, by the time the typical newbie, novice, struggling marketer figures out how to make the Facebook ads thing work a little bit, I've probably made 20 grand just using free methods. Study. Some people are perpetual students. They're always studying. Back in the days, I got started in the commercial world when I was about 19 years of age, and I was trying to sell books door to door. They were religious books because I belonged to a church, and I got a job knocking on doors selling these books, and it was mighty tough, and I definitely was not cut out for it. Getting a lot of doors slammed in my face and all that is not my idea of fun. But I did end up making a few sales. And then, so that gave me a little bit of confidence. I thought, well, maybe there's some potential, but not doing this door-to-door book selling thing. Maybe I can find something else. So I ended up getting a job in a life insurance company, and they put me through a paid 2 weeks training program, all the rest of it. And then I graduated, and then I had to go back to my local division, my local office that I was attached to, report to the sales manager there, and he would help me make my first sales. He did help me make a couple of sales. He was pretty hopeless, but a couple of easy sales. I had some leads, and he went out with me on those appointments. Now, fast forward, I don't know, 10 years or something. I was more successful in the industry because I had one mentor that helped me a lot and helped me more than double my income virtually overnight. And I ended up working in this plush office. The new job for a life insurance agency, right? Very swish. They had models working in there. It was pretty cool. Started to make money, started to do really well. But there was a guy that was working there. His name's Greg, right? I'm not going to say his last name, but because believe it or not, he's still in the industry. He's become institutionalized. But this guy he was always getting ready to get ready. And so he'd have this morning routine studying, okay? He was studying the latest policy announcements and anything to do with the industry. He was studying it. And then he was getting his desk ready. And his filing cabinet was immaculate, I can tell you that. Mine was a mess, right? And he was always getting ready to get ready. Part of his thing was study. Now, nothing wrong with study, but if we're in perpetual student mode, we're not going to make the money that we ought to be making, okay? I call it fear of the field. And that's what they used to call it back then in the insurance industry, fear of the field. These people who join the industry, career in sales, they spend more time in the office than out of the office talking to prospects, right? And this Greg guy, he was definitely one of them. Now, he ended up making a few sales and creating an income, maybe more than the minimum wage, but nothing to write home about. The guy's still in the industry, so he obviously built something up, but he never made a lot of money. But he was a classic example of a guy who had a fear of the field. Now, maybe in time he overcame that fear to a degree, but he definitely had fear of the field. He had fear of going out into the marketplace and facing his audience one-on-one, from appointments. So in the online world, we see the same sort of thing. People who have a fear of the field in the digital sense, okay? So they have the fear of talking to people, even if it's on Messenger, just texting people. They have fear of that. They have fear of engagement. They have fear of connection. They have all sorts of fears. And if they don't overcome those fears, they are not going to prosper, because it's all about people. And we can camouflage it, we can dress it up, and we can talk about sales funnels and spending all this time on sales funnels and studying this video and watching this video and watching that video and so on. Still not going to make any money because you're not connecting with people. Okay? It's like people who buy my Try Build a Core product. There are 2 courses in there, and I've seen some people where they study every single video lesson. The first one's got 10 lessons, and the second course has got I think it might be 6 or 7 from memory. There's, I don't know, be about 15 hours, I'd imagine. 15 hours of content. And then they watch it and they take notes and they go back and watch some of them again. And sometimes weeks can pass and they still haven't done anything. They haven't done anything. They're just perpetual students. It's like people who go back to university to get a higher degree and a higher degree and a higher degree. They do it again and again and again. I reckon they've got fear of the field, fear of the big bad world. So think about these things. I might sound a bit brutal, but I'm just telling you the way I see it. And I've had a lot of experience with people and their foibles, and including my own foibles at times. So, yeah. Content, this is another one. This is the last one in this list. Content. Writing. People love writing. Some people love writing. A lot of people hate it. But I like writing, okay? I like communicating via the written word. I also like communicating via the spoken word, video, you name it. I like it. I like communicating, right? But I do like writing. And I'm never going to win a Pulitzer Prize or anything like that. But in the narrow area that I specialise in, I think I'm quite good at it. Even really good at it. Okay? And because I just say, well, okay, well, what do I think I can get really good at? What area? So I just identified the space, and that's the space that I occupy. Take me out of the space, and you want me to write a 3,000-word blog post about some technical analysis, like a review of a techie type product? No, because I'm a non-tech guy. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But when it comes to writing persuasive copy, copy designed to get some engagement, yeah, I'm good at that. But I also know that if I spend too much time writing, that will detract from the essential work that I have to do, which is connecting with people every day. Every day. So there are some people that spend a lot of time writing, and let's say they're creating posts for their blog, Facebook type posts, Twitter type posts, whatever it happens to be. They're always writing, but they're not making any money because they don't have all of the ingredients in place. And the foundation has to be built on people, finding people, connecting with people, communicating with people. And all that the writing does is it just helps us do it. That's all. That's what it does. It helps us to position ourselves as somebody worth reading about, somebody worth listening to, or taking notice of. That's what content does. But we don't need to spend 4 hours a day doing it. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Some days, like as I record this today, I haven't created any content. None. And, you know, it's 12 hours later. I have not created any content since this morning. And I probably won't create any content today at all. Although, I guess we could say that this video is content. So, there you go. I just contradicted myself, didn't I? But I certainly haven't done any writing today, okay? Except in terms of communicating with people, say on Facebook Messenger or something like that. But it's not formalized content, okay? It's just I'm chatting to somebody and I'm giving them an answer to a question or whatever. Okay, so that's online. Let's have a look at offline. Offline, chores, family, TV, volunteer work, clubs and associations, sport, barbecues and parties. Yeah, rock and roll, baby. You're a chauffeur for the family. You're a general dog's body, are you? Some people are. Hobbies. Great to have hobbies, for sure. But, and it's great to spend time with the family. And I know that sometimes chores have to be done. And, you know, you're involved with clubs and associations. You're doing good work. You're a volunteer. All of it's good. Maybe you're heavily involved with your children, sporting endeavours. Okay? Whatever. I'm not saying not to do them. I'm just saying let's get clear about the problem areas if you've got one. Now, the problem area for me was TV. Yes, I admit it. After a hard day's work at the office there, I'd come home, battle my way through the traffic, might get home about 6 o'clock, sometimes a bit later. Maybe I had an appointment in the office that held me up. But anyway, I'd get home and I'm a bit tired. Okay? First thing I want to do is lie on the lounge chair, flick on the TV. All right? And half an hour later, okay, I want to eat. Time to eat. Sometimes, not every night, but sometimes I'd feel like a glass of wine. All right, I'll have a glass of wine with my meal, watching the TV, watching my favourite program, or maybe even sometimes watch a movie, you know, a video. Okay, that was my thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I did a good, solid day's work at the office, put in 9 hours, something like that. Nothing wrong with coming home and sort of chilling out. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Except the exception is if you have a new dream, a new goal, a new opportunity to pursue. So, for a variety of reasons, I decided that I wanted to make money online. Okay, because my office-based business, it was the business that was owned by my wife and myself, was fallen on hard times. I had did great in years previous, right? No longer in the insurance industry, by the way. That was long before then. But we did great. We had staff of 12, 13 people. We had an entire floor of the office building. But the overheads were killing us. I borrowed too much money. Anyway, I'm not going to give you my sob story. Check out my hero story. It's on video somewhere, and you can hear the whole thing. But a tale of woe, you might say. But so I was curious about the online world. I knew that some people were starting to make a bit of money with the online. This is back in 2006, right? And I thought, well, maybe I can make some money, and because I'm not making much money from our traditional business. So I started looking around for something, and I found an affiliate program. It was a high-ticket program, and generate the leads online. That was the deal. You generate the leads online. The product was an online product. It was a training product, okay? Home study, video-based training product. And the commission was $1,000. Somebody buys that initial product, was $1,000. If they upgraded to the next, bigger product, there was another this is US dollars, there was another $4,500 there as well. So potentially I could make $5,500 US dollars, so in Australian dollars, because that's where I was based at the time. I'm born and bred Aussie. So $5,500 translated to about $6,500 Australian dollars. Okay, so I thought this is pretty good. But even if somebody just bought the entry-level product, I still make $1,000 commission. All right, here was the problem. The problem was that in order for me to do this business, I had to phone leads. The leads were generated online, but then we made contact with them because we didn't have Facebook or anything like that to connect with people. So the leads were generated online. They filled in a form and they included their phone number. They were asked to. Not all of them did, but those that did, great. Those people had to be phoned. Okay, when am I going to phone them? I can't phone them during the day because most of the numbers were home numbers anyway. So obviously they'd be at work during the day. But even if they were at home during the day, I couldn't really phone them during the day because I had to go into the office to do my other thing, and that was a full immersion thing. I couldn't just take time out to do this other business that I was trying to get off the ground. So it had to be evening calls. You see the problem here? I loved watching the TV. Okay? I love watching the TV, and that was my little habit. That was my habit. I realized I had to give up the TV so I could phone these leads. I had to let go of it. I had to create a space for the good that I desire. And I wanted to make $10,000 a month in this new little venture, part-time. Okay? So I let go of it. I made the decision to quit the TV. Well, largely quit it. Okay? And that's what I did. That's what I did. Does that mean that there weren't some times when I was tempted to, when I was really tired and I didn't feel like going into my study to make these phone calls? Yeah, I was tempted. Many times, particularly the first couple of months. I was definitely tempted. And there were some days when I got home from the office, a very hot day, and, I just wanted to put my feet up and maybe have that glass of wine, and I just wanted to watch TV. I just wanted to relax and have something to eat. What invariably happened was that I'd have my meal, and by 7 o'clock, I was in my study. Even when I didn't feel like it. Even when I didn't feel like it, I did it anyway. And I think it was those decisions were pivotal. Those decisions that I made every night, well, Monday through Thursday. I had Friday night off and I had the weekends off from calling leads. But Monday through Thursday, I made the decision that I'm going to be calling leads. Ringy-dingy 1, ringy-dingy 2, okay, dialing for dollars, call it what you like. And in effect, I had to make a decision every day. I made the original decision that I was going to give up the TV for 4 nights a week, but I still had to recommit to that decision every night because it was so tempting. Just be sitting there, feet up, starting to relax, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got to go and make those calls again. And I don't want to make the calls. I don't feel like it tonight. I'm in a bad mood, or I'm tired, whatever. But I did it anyway. I did it anyway. So I made a micro decision every night, 4 nights a week. That's what I did. So that's my story. What's yours? Nothing wrong with doing volunteer work. Nothing wrong with doing family work. Chores, okay, if you've got to do them, maybe you can give them to someone else. Is there somebody in the family? Enroll them in your dream. That's another thing that I do. I enrolled my family in my dream, in my vision, including my wife. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to leave you alone. I'm not going to hassle you to do this or to help with the dishes or anything like that. You go into the office and you make those damn calls. Right? So my wife was behind me 110%. And then we told the kids, and the kids knew to be quiet during this period every night, so they'd go and play out in the backyard, okay, whilst I was in there making the calls. So that's what we did. So you've got to give up something in order to get something better. And it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing. If you can get somebody else to do some of these things that you're involved, these activities that you're involved with, some of them may be very important, but if you can get somebody else to do it for you for a period of 6 months, it's not the end of the world. It's not a lifetime. It's only 6 months. How badly do you want your dream? That's what it's going to come back to. Hobbies, same thing. Same thing. All right. So what are some of the other distractors? I've just got 2 more here. These are not physical items. We're not talking about hobbies and that type of thing. We're just talking about relationships and thoughts. Relationships and thoughts. Now, if you're in a bad marriage, I'm not going to tell you to quit the marriage. Please. I don't want to be a family wrecker or anything like that. But you may have some negative relationships. You may have some dream stealers in your circle. Okay? Could be work friends, so-called friends, right? You can't get rid of your workmates, but if you had somebody who you knew was going to be negative, you told them about your new thing, about what you're trying to do, I wouldn't tell them. I would not tell them, because you're setting yourself up for failure. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell my mother when I first started this online thing, because I knew exactly what she would say. She would put me down. She'd say, oh, internet, oh, you've got to be careful, a lot of scams. Yes, Mum. Mother knows best. Well, look, sometimes they do, but sometimes they haven't got a clue. Right? And if I'd listened to her, I wouldn't have quit the rat race in 55 days. Because my wife ended up taking over all my activities in the office and she let me stay at home. So negative relationships, do what you can there. Avoid the people. If it's family, okay, you can't sack your family, but maybe you can keep your mouth shut. Or maybe you can avoid some of the people in your extended family a bit. Do things like that. Think about it. Negative thought patterns. Well, look, we all suffer from this one time or another. I'm not relentlessly positive. I have my down days. I have my down weeks sometimes, right? But I have more up days than down days. And if I wake up, there was sometimes for the first few weeks, in fact, of when I started this, after I started this online project with that high-ticket company, there were days, because it took me almost a month before I made money. Okay, it was 3.5 weeks. So I had made no sales for 3.5 weeks, which is not a long time. But when you're living with it every day and you're thinking about it, and I'd spent $10,000 on it too, by the way, you're thinking about the money as well, and you're thinking about it, and sometimes it gets into your subconscious, and it may happen before you go to bed, and then you wake up the next morning and just, I don't know, somehow you don't feel good about it, right? So you drag yourself into the office again, but through the day, I know, with me, I was thinking about what I have to do tonight. I had to phone those leads, and I've lost a bit of belief because I've been going for 2 weeks and there's nothing even smelling like a sale. And what am I going to do? Right? So I had a few little crisis points along the way. But in the end, I decided to recommit, and my motto was, I will until. I will until. So if I didn't make money in the first month, so be it. I'll probably make money in the second month. And if I didn't make money in the second, okay, I'll probably make it in 3. I was prepared to give it 3 solid months, but looking back now, I'd say most people should give their project 6 months. 6 months. Dying days of that first month, I ended up with about $9,200 and almost doubled it in the second month and had another big increase in the third. So that was enough to get me out of the rat race. That was plenty enough for me. Okay, but I had to deal with my demons, just like everybody else. But I dealt with them. How did I deal with them when I had some stinking thinking? I had a bout of stinking thinking. Well, one of the things I did was that I phoned my mentor, my sponsor, the lady that introduced me. It was a kind of a network marketing thing. And I'd have a talk to her. And she'd tell me about the little sale that she'd made today or something like that. That would spur me on. Or I'd plug into a company call. I'd plug into a company call and hear what was happening there. I'd hear some success stories. Or I'd listen to a recording. I did things like that. I had my dream chart on the wall in my study, and I'd look at that as well. I'd read a book, like a page from a book, not an entire book, a page. So before I start making these calls, I go from the lounge room into the study, okay, sit down, get myself ready mentally, just shake myself a bit, smack myself on the face if I needed it. I also had a mirror, right? So I'd look in front of the mirror. So I'd practice smiling in front of the mirror, so that when I picked up the phone and started dialing, people, I can tell you, people, even if it's just over the phone, people can tell if you're smiling or not, just from a voice message. They can tell, right? So I use the mirror to practice my smiling. Actually, I'm doing it now. I'm just remembering back all those years ago, and it's putting a smile on my face, and you can tell that I'm smiling, can't you? Okay? So we have to deal with our demons. We have to deal with them, and if there's any way that you can expunge them, at least for a week or two, you should do it. You've got to get rid of them, at least for a period. They're going to come back, because you will have your bad days. Everybody, we still have bad days. Even when I've had a fantastic run, I'll still have a bad day. I don't know why. I have a fantastic, doing great. I've made 50 grand this month or whatever it happens to be, but I still have a bad day. It's strange, isn't it? It's strange. But then I count my blessings, and the day after I'm back again. I'm back in the saddle. So just think about some of these issues. It's critically important. It's critically important that you do this. I want you to name them, shame them, remove them. Name them, shame them, remove them. So the key points, it's probably not as important as you think it is. The thing that you want to hold on to because it gives you satisfaction in some way, even a bad habit. They're kind of good, aren't they? Bad habits. Oh, I've got this bad habit. Why don't you let go of it? Oh, because I like it, right? I like it. We like our bad habits, don't we? But it's not as important as you think it is. Make a sacrifice in the short term for long-term gain. Let go and let God. Have faith that you're doing the right thing. Have faith that tomorrow will be better than today. And when I say tomorrow, I'm not being literal here. I'm not saying tomorrow being Wednesday or whatever it happens to be. I mean tomorrow. In X number of months' time, it's going to be better. You're going to be at a higher place. You're going to be at a better place. You've got to have that faith. And that was one of the things that helped me get through that initial period as a budding online marketer. Let go and let God. Have faith. Have faith. And cut it out. Just cut it out. Let's look at the homework. Pretty simple. Write your master list. Write your master list. The list detailing all of the distractions, the bad habits, the good habits, the hobbies, all of those things, and then put a cross beside those activities or those thoughts or those relationships that you need to do something about. And then you write your hit list. So the hit list is a distillation of your master list. Your master list might include 20 different items. Okay? Your hit list might include 3 or 4, whatever. Whatever is right for you. Then create the space. Just remove them. Do it. Take advantage of this challenge. Take advantage of it. Do it. Even if it's a bit uncomfortable, just do it and then report it to the group. Report it to the group, because we will give you moral support. We'll give you support. Okay? And that'll make you feel better, and that'll give you confidence that you've done the right thing. Okay? So that's what you need to do. Write your master list. From that, you want the distilled list, which we can call the hit list, and then create that space and remove them and then report it to the group. The next few lessons are going to be more to do with the marketing process. Okay? But I think what will happen is that some people are going to look back and they're going to say, day one was the most important. It was the most important lesson of the lot. And indeed, some people in months to come are going to be saying the same thing, perhaps with even more resolve. They're going to say, wow, I can say that my change, my step up, my life-changing income that I'm now enjoying, I can trace it back to this challenge that I did with Kim Willis. I can trace it back to that day one lesson. That was the one that made everything else possible. There you have it. So, day two, what's that about? We're going to be talking about tribe building. We're going to be talking about how to create your instant tribe. And I'm going to show you what I did way back in 2006, but then I'm also going to show you what I'm doing now. Okay? Because there will be a difference. It's a different era now. But you need to see both, I think. You'll get benefit from the first part of it, what I was doing in 2006. You'll find it interesting and you may get some ideas from it. And then you'll be able to contrast that with the current way I do things. But at the end of it all, it came back to me building a warm audience, which, aka tribe. It came back to me building a warm audience. And I was determined to do it from day one. I was very clear about that when I started out in 2006. I didn't know much about online marketing. I didn't know how to generate leads online until my mentor showed me. But I was very clear that if she helped me generate the leads, my number one objective was to turn these coldish type leads from advertising into warm. And they would form part of my warm audience. That was it. So I was doing it right back then. All right, look for that lesson tomorrow. But today, you've got some work to do, haven't you? You've got to get this list thing done, and then you've got to create the space. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, got some value from it, gave you some resolve to make a commitment. Okay, this is Kim Willis. Bye for now.